Hello, welcome back to another one of our videos. So you've just gone through the tendons lecture with Paul and you've seen us bring it to life on the actual model. But here we have the sagittal section that you would have seen on one of our earlier chapters. And I just want to try and point out a couple of these flexor tendons. So, flexor and extensor tendons, shall I say. So if we start with our extensor tendons, what we're not going to probably see here is the lateral digital extensor tendon, as that would be on the lateral aspect, and as this is a sagittal section that's cut right down the center, there's not going to be any evidence of that. What there is evidence of is our common digital extensor tendon. Now the common digital extensor tendon would actually originate quite close to the lateral, but it would be more centralized than the lateral would be, and as you can see, it comes down the dorsal aspect of the metacarpal bone, traveling distally, and what we have is a strong area of attachment here. We also have a pouch here that would be an extension of that joint, and that would be filled with synovial fluid in order to protect the tendon as it passes over this high motion joint here. As we travel further down, the tendon comes down to the proximal extremity on the dorsal aspect of P2 and forms again another strong attachment here. It doesn't finish there, it continues down all the way down here to the extensor process of the distal phalanx, and it forms a real strong and broad attachment here. This actual tendon you can palpate on a real horse, and it actually gets thicker and wider as we come past here. And what's happening is we have branches from the suspensory ligament that comes down the back of the leg, bifurcates just proximal to the fetlock and forms two branches, a medial lateral branch that come around the leg and actually fuse in to the common digital extensor tendon, making that a really large, wide, broad structure as it then travels down together and both attach here on this extensor process. So they are our extensor tendons. They're responsible for extension of the limb. We now go on to our flexor tendons. We have two flexor tendons in the forelimb and two in the hind limb. First off, we're going to start with our flexor tendon that's closest to the surface, being our superficial digital flexor tendon. And as you can see here, the superficial digital flexor tendon travels here, palmar distally down the back of the leg. As we get into this area here, you can notice that we start to lose that structure. It becomes very thin and near enough disappears here. What's happening is this tendon forms the manica flexora, or the collar, the superficial digital flexor tendon collar, which protects both of these tendons as they pass down the back of the leg, back over this high motion joint here. And what it also allows for is the deep digital flexor tendon to then pass through that ligament, pass through that tendon and continue with its traveling down the leg. So after we form this manica flexora collar, the superficial digital flexor tendon bifurcates, and it bifurcates twice. So it will bifurcate and form a medial lateral branch, and those medial lateral branches will then bifurcate again to have a strong attachment on the distal extremity of P1 and the proximal extremity on P2. So the superficial digital flexor tendon actually has 4 insertion points. Through the manica flexora comes the deep digital flexor tendon as it travels all the way down the back of the leg, right the way down under the navicular bone, under the coffin joint, into the semilunar line, as it's forming its final insertion point on the distal phalanx. It's protected against the navicular bone here by the navicular bursa. You can see this small little area where that bursa would have been, packed with synovial fluid. And that's the deep digital flexor tendon. Okay, so there we have it. We have our extensors and we have our flexor tendons. I hope you found that interesting. I hope it was able to visualize some of those structures, especially the deep digital flexor tendon. You can see how large that is in relation to the other two, the common digital and the superficial flexor. It really is a strong, large structure. Yes, okay, so there we have it. As we move through these chapters, we will have more videos coming up. I hope to see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye now.